Another month, another TBR jar prompt challenge. Back. Oh my, we have fresh starts. Okay. Umbrella. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor if you haven't been here before. And today we're going to be picking out the books that are going to be on my TBR for the month of January of 2025, which is so crazy. I cannot believe that we are in 2025, but it's going to be a good year. We have fresh starts. It's going to be really exciting and I feel very motivated. So I'm keen to jump into this video very quickly. What we're going to be doing is I popped in a bunch of prompts in this jar that will then help me pick out kind of one of the books that are on my TBR cart here. I am part of 2 book clubs, which means that I do have already 2 books picked out for the month of January, and I'll go through those first just to kind of give you an idea of what my month is already looking like. The first book is Flock by Kate Stewart. I'm so excited to start this series. I've heard really good things. I don't really know much about it. From the back of the book, what it sounds like it's about is the main female character, Cecilia, and she makes a deal with her estranged father, where if she works with him in his factory, he in turn will pay for her college tuition and then will also hand over a small fortune that will enable Cecilia to help her single mother. And then when she starts working at the factory, she meets sexy local Sean, and then he introduces her to his close-knit circle of friends, and they live by their own rules, and she's always played it safe, and so him and his friends are kind of pushing her outside of her comfort zone. It sounds like there's a bit of a love triangle here. I feel like it could be a romance, a little bit on the darker side. I don't know if it's going to be super dark, but it does sound like it's a little bit more darker than just a cute little romance. So I'm very keen for this one and to finally read it. And then the second book club read that I have is A Killer's Wife. I'm a little bit nervous about this read only because I have had very mixed experiences reading thrillers, and so I just don't know how I'm going to go with this, but the girl that picked this one out loves thrillers, and so I'm hoping that she has picked a good one and I will enjoy it. I also want to point out that I am currently reading Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. I'm about 22% of the way through that one. That will also be included in my wrap up. The rest of the books that I pick will basically just be read around those books, and I'm really keen to kind of just have this TBR to be able to not have to stress and think about the decisions of trying to what am I going to read next? And it's also just super fun. So let's jump into it and pick our first prompt. Okay. First prompt is a popular book talk book. Okay. I feel like I have so many because I'm a newer reader. I feel like majority of my books are book talk books because that's where I get a lot of my recommendations from. I would say some of the biggest ones I've got is Binding 13, 100%. Caraval, Once Upon a Broken Heart, Divine Rivals, One Dark Window, Wild Love, Off to the Races. I mean, literally all of them. There's just so many. I think that, Better Than the Movies. I'd seen that one a lot on BookTok as well, but I just don't know if that's huge. Not like Binding 13 and Caraval and all of that stuff. Also Funny Story by Emily Henry. I really want to read this book soon because she does have another book coming out this year, and so I would love to read this one so that I'm all caught up on her current books that are out. But I also want to read Divine Rivals because I have been putting this off for so long. I'm so intimidated by this book because I've just heard either you love it or you hate it, and that just really scares me because what if I hate it? I mean, if I hate it, I hate it. I need to read it in order to decide for myself whether I want to read it or not, but I really don't know a lot. I think all I know is that these 2 are journalists and there is currently a war going on, and somehow they're magically, because I think that this is a fantasy, they're getting letters sent to each other and they're kind of rivals as well. So I mean, Divine Rivals. It does sound really cool, but I have, again, just heard some mixed reviews, so a little scared of that one. We've got, obviously, Funny Story, which I think is the other one that I'm going to consider. I feel like I'm going to say this probably 1,000 times in this video, but I haven't heard a lot about this book. I honestly don't go into books with a lot of insight into them because I love to go in blind, and I don't even usually read the back of the books, especially when they've been recommended on TikTok, because obviously I'm just going based on people's thoughts instead of what the book says it's about. I have a kind of weird relationship with Emily Henry. I've read Happy Place physically and then the rest of her books on audio, and I loved the books that I read on audio. So I just didn't know if it was that I loved her writing in audio form or if I read Happy Place when it was just like the wrong place, wrong time kind of situation. I want to give this a go as physical because I want to test out that theory. So I guess I'm just deciding between these two. I think I'm going to go with Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, only because I've had this on my TBR for way longer than I've had Funny Story on my TBR. And also I'm thinking about what my current TBR is, and we've got basically two romances. I would say Magnolia and Flock are in the romance umbrella, but they would be very different. Like they're not a classic romance, those ones. So I do think that Her Funny Story would have been good, but I do kind of want to consider a fantasy, and I really, really, really want to get to this book. So I'm going to pop that one on my TBR. This is so fun, but I'm getting so out of breath and I don't know why. I'm just like talking so much. I'm not used to talking so much. Our second prompt is a book that I've been putting off. I totally could have put Divine Rivals because I've been putting that off so much. One Dark Window, I don't know why I've been putting this off because I think it's going to be really good. Bridge Kingdom, I've been putting off only because I just know nothing about it. I haven't heard really many people talk about it, but I'm also really interested. A Fate Inked in Blood, I've definitely been putting off. I cannot tell you why, but yeah, that's like a big book. I feel like I need a smaller one. The Reappearance of Rachel Price, this one definitely. The writing is really small. See, I feel like I'm going to go like absolutely not, but isn't that the point? Like that's literally what I'm definitely putting off. Let's look at the back. Oh my gosh. Back. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this because I'm not moving it anymore. I definitely have been putting off these two. Maybe I should read one of these because I have not enjoyed Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing in both of the books that I've read, which is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. So I've definitely been putting off her books. However, I have heard good things about Carrie Soto is Back and Malibu Rising. Maybe I should pick one of those. But also Lessons in Chemistry, and I've heard really good things about that. I'm going to choose between Lessons in Chemistry and Malibu Rising. Let's have a read of the back and then go off vibes, shall we? Chemist Elizabeth Zott is not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth Zott would be the first to point out that there is no such thing. But it's the early 1960s and her all-male team at Hastings Research Institute takes a very unscientific view of equality. Forced to resign, she reluctantly signs on as the host of a cooking show, Supper at Six. But her revolutionary approach to cooking, fueled by a scientific and rational commentary, grabs the attention of a nation, and soon a legion of overlooked housewives find themselves daring to change status quo one molecule at a time. That sounds so interesting. Wow. That sounds really good. Okay, then we have Malibu Rising. Malibu, August 1983. It's the day of Nina Reva's annual end of summer party and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone who's anyone wants an invite to catch a glimpse of the famous Reva siblings. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel. Brother Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister, Kit. Together, the siblings are a force of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the children of the legendary singer Mick Reva. By midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Reva mansion will have gone up in flames. But ahead of that first spark in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shape this family will come bubbling to the surface. Oh my gosh, wait. I don't know why that's absolutely different to what I thought it was going to be like. I don't know what I had envisioned. I'm going to do Lessons in Chemistry only because I just recently have been thinking about this and I almost feel like it's meant to be because I've had this on my TBR for so long. So like, how is it that I've been thinking about it and now I have the chance to read it? So I'm going to pop this one on the TBR. The next TBR prompt we have is a book with a yellow cover. Okay, so we've got The Trader Queen, I think that's what it's called, but that's the second book in the series, so I'm not going to do that one. We've got Better Than the Movies, which I'd be really, really keen to read that one. We've got, no, that one's orange. Would you guys say that this is orange or yellow? I studied graphic design, so surely I should be able to tell. I feel like it's like in between, but obviously Better Than the Movies is way more yellow. And I think that that's really the only options we've got. So I'm going to go with Better Than the Movies. And I've never read a Lynn Painter book before, so I'm very keen. It also sounds, and I'm not going to read it, so I do want to go into this one a little blind, but I have heard that this one is very much like rom-com movies, and I love rom-com movies. So I'm very keen to pop this one on my TBR for this month. Okay, and we're going to do one more prompt because I am a slow reader, so I'm not going to get to too many books this month. So let's pick out our last one. Any romance book. Okay, I'm glad I picked Divine Rivals because I feel like we have quite a bit of romance on here already. I really want to read The Right Move. I would love to read Binding 13, but it's huge, so I feel like that's just really intimidating. Wild Love, definitely, because I've had that for so long and I really, really want to read this series. I also really want to read Off to the Races, but I don't know why. I just feel like in my soul, I feel like I want to read the Rose Hill series first. I don't know why. I don't think that there's necessarily in order. I also think that Off to the Races, the Gold Rush Ranch series, was released first, but just don't even ask. Don't really have a desire to read Ali Hazelwood. I could read Collide because I love hockey romance. Bridemaid for Hire would be fun as well. And I really need to read King of Sloth because that's the last one in that series that I need to read. So it'd be like so nice to complete it off. This is too many options. Meant to Be. I've also had this one on my TBR for so long. And I've been seeing her everywhere. Lauren Jackson. Josie Mayer fled Fern Grove after a scandal that rocked the town. Turning her back on her friends and family, she disappeared with no contact, no forwarding address, and abandoned the only life she knew. Now she's back and has to confront what she left behind. When Josie runs into her ex-boyfriend Nick and Harley, the boy who stole her heart, she is faced with the pain and the heartache of a past that she's desperate to forget. Josie must make a choice of doing what's best for her or risk repeating the history once more. A steamy small-town romance, enemies to lovers romance, perfect for fans of Anna Huang, Lucy Score, Tessa Bailey, and Monica Murphy. Yes! Okay. I'm going to choose this one because cute. I love a small-town romance. I love an enemies to lovers. So I'm keen for this. It's also a smaller book, so I definitely think that it is very much more likely for me to finish this and read this month than like a Binding 13. And I've also just had it on my TBR for so long. I've also not read Lauren Jackson before, and I would really, really love to read one of her books. So very keen. Okay, I feel like we have a very solid list of books here that are on my TBR for the month. I am desperately trying to get through my physical TBR because my husband put me on a book buying ban, and I will not be off this book buying ban until I get this list down. So I'm really glad I was able to grab some of these books, and hopefully I'll be able to get them read this month. So let's go through the list quickly. Starting off with the book that I'm currently reading, Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. We've got book club read number 1, Flock by Kate Stewart. Book club number 2, A Killer's Wife. Then we've got Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. And Meant to Be by Lauren Jackson. I'm actually so excited for this list of books for this month. I don't know why. Like, there's actually quite a few books on here that I've been putting off, had on my TBR for so long. Like, I honestly feel like all 4 that I've picked out, I've had on my TBR for so long, and I've been just putting them off. And so I'm actually really excited to just have them here and be like, okay, it's time to read them. And I just know for sure that I'm probably going to love at least one of these, hopefully all of them. So I'm very, very keen for the month of January. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate a like and maybe subscribe for some more bookish content. And I'll see you guys in my next video.